We got some urgent news that says that JURAJ SLAFKOVSKY might miss the rest of the regular season with an injury. That plus a few other brutal Habs injury updates on this urgent news edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's unfortunate news edition of Habs Digest. And quick reminder before I get right into the topic here today, like the video right now and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. All the news Montreal Canadiens that you can ever ask for is right here on this channel. Let's get straight into it. No title cards or anything today. We got some significant Habs injury updates here. SLAFKOVSKY could miss the rest of the regular season. He is out 3 months with a lower body injury. Jonathan Drouin out until the All-Star break with a UBI. Jake Allen, minimum of 1 week with an upper body injury. Yoel Armia out until the All-Star break with an upper body. And Jake Evans with that brutal leg injury we saw him suffer, I believe against the Rangers, out 8 to 10 weeks with a lower body injury. Not only that, we got Eric Engels confirming this. It's not just Chris Johnson. Luckily, SLAFKOVSKY and Evans both don't need surgery. That's the big thing we're getting out of this, but they're both going to miss a significant amount of time. So I needed to get this out to you guys right away. It's really brutal because SLAFKOVSKY, it looked like he was laboring on that one play in that game, but I couldn't have predicted this. 3 months and a decision of whether or not he needed surgery. Now again, thankfully, he doesn't need it, but him being out 3 months hopefully won't impact his development too much. We finally saw him really start to play better and better and better, correcting his mistakes just for it all to get derailed by this lower body injury. We might see him later on in the season in April, maybe for a few games before the season is done. I would love that, just to get him back ready on the NHL ice. But I also don't see Montreal pushing for him at all. Our boy Slavstil, we don't want... The one thing we didn't want was for him to get hurt. But unfortunately, it's happened now, and there's nothing we can do about it. So he's hurt. We need to make sure, Montreal as an organization needs to make sure that SLAFKOVSKY is doing exactly what he needs to get back fully healthy, ready to play NHL games. And if that involves sitting him for the rest of the regular season to make sure he doesn't tweak something else, I'm all for that. This is incredibly unfortunate. Really sad, because like I said, he was really progressing well. He hadn't scored in a while, but you could see he was keeping his head up. He was doing exactly what the coaches were telling him, and he was being the player that we really wanted to see from the number 1 overall pick. It's I don't really have any other words to talk about this. It's sad, kind of shocking. I mean, a lot of us were like, oh, he'll be back within a week or two, right? And then we heard some rumblings that he's kind of hurt, and now boom, 3 months. 3 months is no short amount of time, so add him to that long list of IR where Cayden Guhle is out for another month and a bit, Slav out for 3 months, Evans out for about 2.5, Armia and Drouin out until after the All-Star break. So we're gonna see some young guys stepping up. And I wanted to mention about Jake Evans too. We finally got a timeline on him. We heard it might not have been as bad as we thought from some announcers, some commentators, but no, it's pretty bad. 8 to 10 weeks. At least he didn't tear anything in his leg. That's the big thing. We want to make sure he's healthy. One of our favorite players on Montreal here at Habs Digest. He is he's really a heart and soul of the team when Brendan Gallagher's not there, who is also another guy on IR. But now this is kind of shocking. So what this is really telling us is that our lineup last night with some AHL guys like Rem Pitlick, Jesse Ylönen, and Raphael Harvey-Pinard, they're going to be playing consistently. Hoffman and Dadonov are going to be getting high up minutes, top line minutes, maybe top 2 line minutes. Hoffman played well with Anderson and Dach in the last game. Hoffman with a great goal. Dach has looked amazing centering his own line. But it's going to be interesting because we saw Ylönen on the top line with Suzuki and Caufield, and you just have to wonder, what else is coming? Monahan, we haven't heard much about him. He's still not skating with the regular guys. He'll probably be out a few weeks still, maybe until the All-Star break. So it looks like Kirby Dach is going to be our permanent number 2 center for the next little while at the very least. So with that said, who's going to play on the wings? We got Suzuki, Dach, Dvorak down the middle. And we didn't have a 4th center last game because Drouin wasn't playing, who is sort of our de facto 4th center when Evans and Monahan both aren't there. So I'm curious, do we just run with 11 forwards again? Because last game we ran with 11 forwards and 7D, with our 7th D being, Jordan Harris. The only defenseman sitting was Chris Weidman, because we did have the return of Mike Matheson, which is one of our only positive pieces of injury news recently. But we had Harvey-Pinard and who was the other one on that 4th line wing? I think it was Pitlick. I couldn't remember if it was Pitlick or Pezzetta playing that 4th line no center winger role. I think Pezzetta was on the 3rd with Dvorak. and Dadonov, I think, but it was mixed around constantly. But I feel like that's what we're going to see going the rest of the way. We're going to see a bunch of mixed wingers, like especially for the next 2 months. This is going to be nuts. A bunch of mixed wingers with Suzuki and Caufield. And we did see a little bit at practice, Jonathan Drouin getting some skating time with Suzuki and Caufield too. So maybe after the All-Star break, he'll be back. But until the All-Star break, I mean, I think we'll see Ullinen, who I thought played really well with Suzuki and Caufield last game. He worked well off of them. We've seen Hoffman on that top line before, and of course, we've seen extended minutes of Josh Anderson on that top line in past seasons, especially in that playoff run for a little bit. So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting at this point, with all these injuries, Kent Hughes to say, okay, like in Martin St. Louis to say, it's time to get some value for our guys. Right now, the only guys that we can really look to trade, or at least the guys that have been constantly around in trade speculation, are Joel Edmundson, Mike Hoffman, Evgeny Dadonov. And when I say that, I mean the guys that are currently healthy, because of course Jonathan Drouin and Yoel Armia have had some trade talk about them. And we actually have heard a bit about Josh Anderson too, but I don't think he'll be a trade deadline move. I think he might be more of an off-season move if we decide to move on from him. So, it's interesting. We're going to see Hoffman and Dadonov, I'm sure, getting a lot more minutes to try and show their value, while we're also got to try whatever we can to keep Suzuki and Caufield rolling, because while Kirby Dach works really well on that first-line wing, he needs to be our number 2 center right now. He looked amazing in that position, like I said, and we don't have anyone else who can possibly fill that role. But ultimately, this is just absolutely brutal, because with all these injuries, this was the perfect opportunity to see Slafkovsky on a higher line. Can you imagine Slafkovsky on a wing with Kirby Dach, who is an amazing playmaking center for us right now? Or even Slafkovsky getting some minutes on the top line with Suzuki and Caufield with our lack of centers? Or if we need Dach on the second line, why not try Uri up there for a game? Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. Our boy is out with an injury for 3 months. We got to deal with it. We'll be tracking his progress significantly, but this is brutal, brutal news for all of us Habs fans. And I guess we just got to look forward to what could possibly go right in the next few months as we get closer to the draft. I mean, at least Toronto beat Florida last night, and Montreal gets to play Florida, I think, tomorrow or whenever that game is. So we have a bit of control over that pick while we have our own as well. So maybe we'll get a good draft pick. Unfortunately, it looks like it's quite possible that Slafkovsky's development for the 2022-23 season ends right here. That'll do it for this urgent news edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We put a lot of effort into these videos, and we're really, really glad you guys enjoy them. Thank you for watching to the end of every video we post. It's really a blessing to be able to do this stuff, and I'm glad I was home today to be able to post this news video, because I was actually about to go out as I looked at my phone and saw the news. So anyway, you heard it here first. Probably not first, probably second or third, but anyway, we got a video up about it. I'm Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next video.